What if I told you that the secret to an outstanding HR career isn't about working harder, but about tweaking tiny habits that compound into massive success? How can a 1% improvement each day make you a game changer in HR? Stay with me till the end, because you're about to learn how micro habits can redefine hiring, employee engagement, and HR leadership. Welcome back to HR Inspire, your go-to channel for career advice and HR insights. Now let's dive in. Imagine this. Two HR professionals start their day in the exact same way. One rushes through emails, firefights problems, and reacts to workplace issues. The other? They have a structured habit of reviewing key priorities, setting hiring goals, and sending out one recognition email every morning. Fast forward a year. Who do you think is more successful? This is the power of atomic habits, a concept introduced by James Clear, a best-selling author and habits expert. His book, Atomic Habits, An Easy and Proven Way to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones, reveals a groundbreaking truth. You don't need massive overhauls to succeed. You just need small repeated actions that compound over time. Think about this. If you improve by just 1% every day by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. Now let's bring this into HR. Most HR professionals believe that big, disruptive reforms drive change. Revamping policies, restructuring teams, launching high-profile engagement programs. But the reality, success in HR doesn't come from one-time actions. It comes from the tiny, consistent habits we build every single day. Imagine if you improve hiring decisions by just 1% daily, you create a workforce that thrives. If you make employee engagement 1% more intentional each day, retention skyrockets. If you simplify HR processes by 1% each week, efficiency soars. Small actions lead to big impact. James Clear breaks this down into 4 simple rules of behavior change, and today I'm going to show you how to use these exact principles to build powerful HR habits that will transform the way you hire, engage, and lead. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Have you ever felt like the hiring process in your organization is a chaotic last-minute scramble? Maybe you've experienced the frustration of losing a great candidate because the interview lacked structure. Or worse, hiring the wrong fit simply because the decision was rushed. The truth is, bad hires aren't just costly. They can disrupt entire teams, lower morale, and drain productivity. According to the US Department of Labor, a bad hire can cost a company up to 30% of that employee's annual salary. And guess what? The biggest reason for bad hires is unstructured decision-making. This is where James Clear's first rule of atomic habits comes in. Make it obvious. How does this work in HR? To build a strong hiring habit, you need clear, visible cues. Triggers that remind you and your team to follow a structured process. Before every interview, set a simple, repeatable habit cue that ensures structured, bias-free hiring decisions. Here's a quick 3-step checklist to make it happen. 1. Skill match. Does the candidate have the core competencies needed? 2. Culture fit. Will they thrive in your company's values and work environment? 3. Long-term potential. Are they a short-term fix or a strategic hire for growth? Why this works. Checklists reduce cognitive overload. Instead of making last-minute gut decisions, you have a clear framework. They remove unconscious bias. You focus on objective factors, not personal preferences. They save time. A structured process means faster, more confident hiring decisions. In fact, companies that use structured hiring processes are 50% more likely to make successful hires, according to LinkedIn. So, the next time you sit down for an interview, let your hiring checklist be your habit cue. Over time, this small, repeated action will create a hiring process that's not just effective, but effortless. And that's just the beginning. Let's move to the next habit-building strategy that will completely transform employee engagement. Let's be honest, employee engagement is one of the biggest challenges in HR. We run surveys, set up engagement programs, and organize team-building activities. But the real question is, why do so many employees still feel disconnected? Why do engagement levels stay stagnant despite all these efforts? According to a Gallup study, a shocking 85% of employees worldwide are not engaged or are actively disengaged at work. James Clear's second rule of atomic habits explains why. If a habit isn't attractive, people won't stick to it. That's exactly the problem with traditional engagement efforts. Most companies rely on monthly engagement surveys to measure motivation. But here's the truth. Less than 30% of employees actually fill them out. Employees see them as corporate checkboxes rather than real conversations. By the time HR reviews the data, it's already outdated. The damage is done. This means we need to make engagement part of daily work life, something employees look forward to, instead of another boring HR task. So how do we make engagement an irresistible, natural habit in the workplace? Instead of relying on surveys, use habit stacking, a technique from Atomic Habits, to tie engagement to something that already happens regularly. Here's a simple yet powerful engagement habit to implement. The shout-out habit. At the end of every weekly team meeting, make it a ritual to publicly recognize one employee's contribution. Example. Before we wrap up, I want to give a quick shout out to Veronica for her contributions in supporting with organizing the Employee Family Day. Your work really made a difference this week. Why is this so powerful? Public recognition triggers dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical, making employees want to repeat great work. It reinforces company values in a meaningful way. It builds a culture where employees feel seen and valued, not just another number in the system. And here's the best part. People who feel appreciated are 50% more productive. According to a study by Harvard Business Review, employees who receive regular recognition are 4.6 times more likely to feel engaged at work. This is how you make engagement attractive, by turning it into a habit employees genuinely enjoy. So instead of waiting for an annual survey to measure engagement, build engagement into your workplace one daily habit at a time. Now, let's move to the next step. How do we make HR habits easy so they don't get lost in our already busy schedules? HR professionals have a lot on their plate, from payroll and hiring to compliance and employee relations. With so many responsibilities, it's easy to feel like you're constantly putting out fires instead of making real progress. In fact, studies show that HR professionals spend up to 73% of their time on administrative tasks, leaving little room for strategic work. So how do we fix this? How do we build HR habits that actually stick, without adding more work to our already packed schedules? James Clear's third rule of Atomic Habits gives us the answer: make it easy. The easier a habit is, the more likely you'll do it, every single day. So instead of forcing ourselves to be more productive, let's focus on removing friction from HR tasks. Fact McKinsey & Company shared that companies that use automation in HR report 30% higher efficiency and up to 20% cost savings. Think about all the time you spend on manually scheduling interviews, sending onboarding emails to new hires, following up on performance review forms. What if these tasks could run on autopilot? Solution leverage automation tools. Use HR software like Bamboo HR, Workday or Zoho People to schedule and track hiring tasks automatically. Set up email templates for onboarding so every new hire gets a structured, engaging welcome. Automate reminders for managers to complete performance reviews so you don't have to chase them every quarter. The less effort required, the more consistently these HR tasks will get done. Have you ever wondered why some habits stick while others fade away? Think about the things people do effortlessly, checking social media, watching their favorite shows, or even indulging in that extra slice of cake. Why? Because the brain craves rewards. It releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical, every time we experience something satisfying. Now, what does this have to do with HR? Everything. James Clear's fourth rule of atomic habits is make it satisfying, because when people feel rewarded, they repeat behaviors. Here's a staggering fact. According to Gallup, 69% of employees say they would work harder if they felt more appreciated. Only 10% of employees receive recognition regularly. Companies with strong recognition programs see 31% lower turnover rates. That means recognition isn't just nice to have in HR. It's critical for retention and engagement. But here's the mistake most companies make. They wait too long to reward employees, saving recognition for annual reviews, year-end bonuses, or Employee of the Year awards. Big mistake. Why? Because delayed rewards don't reinforce daily behaviors. Imagine training a puppy. You don't wait a year to give it a treat. You reward it immediately so it learns. The same applies to employees. Instead of waiting months or years to recognize employees, make recognition an everyday habit using small, frequent rewards. Here's how. Send instant recognition messages. If someone goes the extra mile, send a quick Slack or email appreciation message. A Harvard Business Review study found that real-time recognition boosts morale by 44%. Offer small perks. Give surprise coffee vouchers, an extra long weekend, or a reserved parking spot for a week. These cost little but create high emotional impact. Monthly team shoutouts. At the end of every month, publicly recognize employees in meetings. Studies show public praise is 3 times more impactful than private praise. The result? Employees feel valued, engagement skyrockets, and retention improves effortlessly. So the next time you think about employee engagement, remember, recognition isn't a one-time event, it's a habit. And when done right, it transforms company culture from the inside out. So remember the big question, can tiny habits truly change your HR career? Yes, hiring, engagement, retention, and productivity all improve with small, consistent actions. Start today. Pick one tiny habit and implement it this week. Here's a question for you. What's one small HR habit you'll build starting today? Drop it in the comments below. If you love this, hit that like button, share it with your HR team, and subscribe for more game-changing HR strategies. Want more career-boosting tips? Watch our video on mastering employee engagement next.